Okay, so I'm a Protestant and I like to ask a lot of questions. So one of my questions lately has been about the authority of the church. And I know usually whenever people ask questions about church authority, they automatically go, oh, church authority is bad. You shouldn't think that. But that's not true, because that's not what the Bible talks about. And so my question is, where should we kind of center on for authority in the church on earth? Because obviously, yes, Jesus has the final word. God has full authority. But Jesus established a central earthly authority as he was leaving. So Simon Peter, he said, Simon Bar-Jonah, you are now Peter, the rock on which I will build my church, and I will give you the keys and hell will not prevail against it. So that shows that Peter was pretty much the original authority that Jesus had kind of left the church to. He said, here are the keys, you have it, you are now the rock on which I will build my whole church. And so that kind of established Peter as who would inherit authority. And also the apostles were given the ability to forgive sins. So whoever they forgave, their sins would be forgiven. Whoever they chose not to forgive, their sins would not be forgiven in the name of the Lord, right? And so the apostles had that authority. And they would pass on authority to other churches and to the regional churches, because churches at the time were not separated by denomination. They were separated by location. So that's why you have the church of Corinth, you have the church of Philippi, you have all of these places. So the churches were separated by location because the church was central. Church was the body of Christ. They weren't separated by specific, oh, well, we believe this, we believe that. They were separated by location. And the authority that was laid on Peter was then passed on to other people by the laying on of hands. So everyone was blessed through the laying on of hands, and there was a clear passing on of authority. Now, there is an extreme separation between that way of passing on authority and the modern church today. Because a lot of people, whenever they decide that they disagree with the church or they feel a special calling, they will leave their church and just start their own. And they will gain people by charisma or even correct biblical teachings. But a lot of people who start churches self-establish church. There wasn't some authority figure that laid on their hands and had a clear passing on of authority. They just decided to start their own church, which kind of goes directly against the biblical teachings for the passing on of authority in the church. So where is the authority that we're supposed to look to today, especially Protestants? Because there's not really a central authority because we're so separated. Anytime somebody disagrees, they'll go away and start a new church. There's so much separation within a lot of Protestant churches that there's no central authority, and there's not even necessarily a central set of full beliefs. Like, you go to different churches and they'll have different beliefs about the perseverance of saints, whether or not you have salvation based off of whatever things, whether or not you can lose your salvation, or tongues demonic or not. When should we water baptize? There's so much separation between Protestant churches when that was not Jesus's original design, because he's like, hey, Peter, you are the rock on which I will build my church. And then they would pass on authority through the laying on of hands. So it feels like we are definitely distanced from that. And a question I've been having is, where did the authority go?